guys. We are live. Good to see you guys. What's going on out there? So, welcome back to another episode of Yes, Your Educational Stories. What's up, Batansis? Good to see you. Florida rum cake in the house. I gotta order my Florida rum cake. I love that rum cake out of Florida. If you don't know, log on to Florida rum cake and get your Florida rum cake. See James McSherry out there. Kevin Aguilar. What's up, guys? Hope everyone is doing well. Happy Friday. Deborah Negron. Okay. What's going on, guys? Tamara. Good to see you. Pop from the Bronx is in the house. It's good to see all you guys. Happy Friday. Today's my mom's birthday, actually. Shout out to my mom. Lynette brought her some beautiful flowers this morning. Surprised her. And shout out to all the mothers, man. Shout out to the moms. And listen, so, you know, this journey of mine was started a couple months back. I was pondering. I've been in education for 25 years now as a teacher and as an administrator. And, you know, the point of starting this IG Live is to hear stories about that aha moment. Everyone has that aha moment in their life where it's like, you know what? I'm going to be successful. What's up, Antoinette? Good to see you. I'm going to be successful and I'm not turning back. And no matter what obstacles come my way, I will be successful. Now, you have to understand that, you know, it's the road is not for the swift, but it is for he who endureth the longest. And what does that mean? The struggle is real out here. You know, many of us are going through a lot of things, you know, and we put on a happy face every day when we show up to things. But the journey is real, and you have to learn to trust the journey when you are definitely. Hey, Rosa is in the house. You got to trust Sahara. How you doing? Good to see you. You got to trust the journey. Again, shout out to my mom. But again, the point of this Instagram Live is to find out what is that aha moment. When do students or adults decide when they want to do it? When they want to be truly successful? And, you know, I always talk about the zip code, right? Your zip code is not supposed to determine your destiny. It is not. You know, growing up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, my zip code determined that I probably wouldn't be here right now. But, you know, it takes that aha moment for you to determine that I truly want to be successful. So tonight's guest is Jonathan Negron, who comes from one of those zip codes, which happens to be in the Bronx. Shout out to the Boogie Down Bronx. And he's going to share his journey, which is very, very interesting. He has a very compelling story, and I'm sure it'll resonate with everyone. And you'll understand that, you know, things might not look, you know, rosy at first, but, you know, if you stay the course, things will work out, you know. So I want to bring Jonathan on. Jonathan, you out there? Pop from the X. See if you can get on right now. See if you're there. Where are you, Pop? Waiting for Mr. X to pop in. There you go. Okay, wait for Mr. X. X, you coming on? Okay, trying to figure out. We're having some technical difficulties. But listen, so, you know, the journey is real. I remember a story, and you never know what you're going to say to certain students at the time that will actually, you know, affect their future. I remember there was a student of mine who wanted to be a pilot. And, you know, coming out of the Bronx, he wanted to be a pilot. And he didn't know what or how to go about doing that. So there was a administrator actually who stepped up and was like, "Yo, so you want to be a pilot, huh?" So the young man applied. He didn't know anything about flying a plane or anything like that, but he knew that. One second here. He knew that that's the career that he wanted to pursue. So he got accepted to a school in Florida, and he got accepted. And that school was obviously miles away. We got Pop from the X. Oh, hold on, X. Let me just finish the story about this young man from the Bronx.
Go ahead.
Who wanted to be a pilot. And He couldn't get. How was he going to get to the Bronx? He didn't have any money. But the administrator, long story short, the administrator paid for the flight for him to go to Florida and take lessons on how to fly a plane. And recently, as of I think about 6 months ago, I saw he posted on Instagram. You know, he had landed the plane and he's standing down at the bottom and somebody's walking down. Who's walking off of that plane that he just flew? Biden, the now president of the United States. So don't tell me the sky's the limit when there are footprints on the moon. Okay? Okay? So, all right, without further ado, we got Mr. Jonathan Negron, a.k.a. Pop from the X on Instagram. AKA the Bronx. The Bronx is in the house, but X now is he's, what are you now? How do I describe what you do? You're doing so many big things.
Man, I'm a regular guy.
He is what you call an A&R in the music industry, and he will explain what that means, because people hear A&R. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means he represents from my perspective, layman terms, artists in the industry. But without further ado, Pop, I want to thank you for coming on. You're very special to me, and I have a lot of respect for you and all of the obstacles that you've overcome. And I love the drama that you caused me early on in your academic career. So without further ado, please, share your educational story.
All right, man. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mr. Smallhorne. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. But yeah, man, like I started like a knucklehead, man. Like you know how it goes.
Shout out your zip code, by the way, from the Bronx.
10473, baby. Come on, 10473. Sandview, Castle Hill. I came from the gutter of it. And even though we came from the gutter of it, it doesn't ever make it seem like we didn't have fun or we didn't know how to enjoy life. Like we figured it out. We figured out how we was always gonna make a day to smile,
Yeah.
As far as what I do, I am an A&R and artist services manager. So A&R stands for artist and repertoire, meaning I sign the talent, I scout it, I develop it, I mature it. I basically manage your music itself. You have managers who will manage your lifestyle and your business and your brand partnerships. And you have somebody who is part of the label and is more like the buffer and the mediator. I make sure that the label and the entire building wants to push and is behind what you are putting together. And then I make sure that they assert and articulate your vision as an artist, from the artwork to the sound to the quality to the type of genre we want to approach, the demographics, the marketing, everything. I basically am the guy that the artist confides in to make sure I guide him correctly as far as his music goes.
All right, that's that corporate talk. Thank you so much. Now let's take us back to the beginning. before this new Jonathan, right? Let's go back to where it all started.
Hey man, I mean, we'll take it back to we'll take it back to we could start all the way back to when I worked for you, actually, when I was in school with you, and you gave me the opportunity to have a job. It was crazy because it was like back then, like I was what, 16, 15?
Yeah. 15.
And like, yeah, something like that. And like you had like, I don't know, like I remember Antonio, RP Antonio, he was on me like talking to me a lot, and he was like, yo, you always hanging around, and like you seem like you're smart, but you're a knucklehead, like you need to get a job. You got too much energy, you're wasting your time, go make some money. Mm-hmm. And he brought me into you, and you interviewed me. Mm-hmm. And like, I stood on my best behavior that day. So I guess I fooled you that day. That day I got you.
Yeah, got me.
So from there, you gave me a shot, I presented my working papers, and I started working. I started learning how to structure myself. I started learning how to make sure that it's not always about what you think looks cool. Sometimes you got to present things a different way. You represent more than yourself. You represent a different unified front. And if you like a weak link, everybody kind of looks bad too because they chose you to be part of that team. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, you gonna ask anything?
I was gonna say, talk about the block and how you overcame those obstacles on the block, and you were able to even through all of that stuff, whatever was going on. Tell us a little bit about that.
So where I came up at, I came up in like two distinctive blocks. Like one block I came up in, it was crazy. It was like a heavy Crip neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I never joined their gang. And then the other neighborhood I grew up in was like a heavy blood neighborhood, and I never
Yeah.
joined that gang. And I remember everybody used to press me, like all my bros were turning either blood or Crip, and everybody was doing their thing. And like I was kind of like, yo, I can't do that. Like my grandparents would be heartbroken if I joined the gang, bro. Like that should have killed them. Like you can't do that. Like I can't do that. Like they did me the favor to already raise me. Like they didn't have to do that. So I just kept my head clear and started trying to like chase sports. And like I wasn't even like a great athlete or nothing, but I was better than average. Like I could hang.
Yeah.
So I just, focused as good as I could, as best as I could on like trying to be out the street and stay in school and stay, trying to make them proud all the time. Like always trying to like I do anything to make sure that they
Yeah.
smiling and don't give them a bad name out there. Like my parents had a good name where we came from, so you never want to taint that or tarnish it or anything like that. So you try your best to just keep your head low, keep your eyes open all the time.
And what was that? What was that journey like? From not joining the gang and then going to school, and then having to, what was school life like?
I
Academic.
mean, shit, when you went to Lehman was hectic back then. Lehman was like, Lehman was, for real, like, Lehman was very mature. Like, when we came in there, like, bro, I remember going to Lehman freshman year and it was like, grown ass men was in the school. Like, everybody looked grown. I was like the generation that looked like the little Sherms.
Yeah.
Everybody looked grown. Like, so it was like surreal. But my neighborhood was cool. They were always very supportive of what I was doing. Like, like I would try to do shit and try to be cool like the street kids. And I remember one of the OGs that told me like, "Yo, bro, like you don't got to be street. Like we already know that's not you. You don't come from that. You a street savvy kid, but you're not a street kid. Like just be you. Like don't try to be like them. Like you go play sports, you do that. Like don't be smoking no reefer. Like they was on me like that. Like so I got that support from them, but it was also, you hear all of that from the guys you're looking up to and the guys you're hanging outside around and the guys you see driving and doing the fly shit all over the neighborhood and
Yeah.
getting the bad girls. So like you see it, but then you kind of look at it like, damn, I'm in school writing papers while y'all making paper. Like
Yeah.
how I'm gonna come outside and make that paper?
Yeah.
And like, it becomes a sort of a hustle like that. The kids from our zip codes they have to understand early because like our parents most of the time got financial issues.
Yeah.
Our parents most of the time are by themselves doing it alone. Our parents are hiding things that they don't want us to stress over. And like that's nothing I didn't realize that till I was an adult. Like, your parents, you be thinking shit is sweet and your parents are just hiding a lot of problems from you.
Yeah.
And they're doing it because you're a child. They don't want you to go through that. And and you're blessed if you have those type of parents. Like not every parent is like that.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
no, go ahead. What you was gonna say?
I was gonna say, said something about the streets. People, if you're not from it, you don't understand it. That there's codes. There's different street codes. Like if in the streets, like if the dudes, the people in the streets see that you're doing something with sports or something like that, they push you towards being more successful with that because they don't want you to become a product of the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something with street code that you
Exactly.
you have to live it, understand it.
Yeah, 100%. And like, and it's something you gotta be able to stay strong in because it's just like I said earlier, where you got OGs from the hood telling you like, stay out of the street, keep your head low, do this.
Yeah.
But you see them doing shit, and you kind of want to be like, damn, like, but you making bread, like you doing your thing out here, like I'm trying to get down like this too.
Okay.
And like it's difficult, but if you got the right foundation around you, and you got the right community around you, and you got certain people that play them wow factors and that give you those aha moments that we discussed. You're gonna if you know how to read a sign just a little bit, you'll get through it.
Okay.
And like that I think that's like something that kids should know from early on. Like we tend to defy signs. Like, bro, it's very simple to see a sign. You're gonna see it often if you don't see it the first time.
So talk to us a little bit about how you went from the Bronx and to Florida, right? And then talk about that journey, that struggle right there, and how you made it to, because people see you right now. You're this big time. Well, I don't want to tell everyone, but he is a big time A&R. Big time A&R. But people see the finished product, but they don't understand the struggle, the journey, everything that you have to go through to get to where you're at.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about the move from the Bronx to Florida, how that affected you, and how you overcame obstacles to be where you're at right now.
So when I originally made the decision like that, I remember that was like summer of 2010, and I was like, I was a little bug out. I was going crazy. Like I was in the street running around. I was 20 years old. Like you wasn't nobody was telling me nothing. Like and anybody who know me, like they ride. Like I kind of went on the tweak mode for a little bit. Like what the hell? You wasn't raised like that. What's wrong with this kid?
Hmm.
So you know, I seen that at a point where I was really gonna go into a wormhole of like my actions were gonna start causing me. They were gonna cost me more than the reward,
Yeah.
greatly, like and like tremendously. So I started like backing off of it, and I wanted to go to Florida. Like I was like, you know, I'm gonna take it down to Miami. And at the time I was still in college too. Like I was in school, and I had spoke to a professor, and he was a cool dude, and we were discussing money and salary and all of this, and he was like, "Well, what do you make? Well, what do you do?" And I was like, "You know, I make a good amount. I make this amount." At the time, it was about more than 45 grand.
Yeah.
I was 18. I was 20. So I had that job. I got that job like fresh out of high school. So I had that job 2 years.
What was that
Um,
job?
I was a supervisor at a warehouse at Hunts Point, distributing food.
Okay. So you're still
Um,
so you're still here in the Bronx, right?
I'm still here rocking, and you know,
Okay.
but I'm still bugging out too. Like, you know, I'm just trying to get it. I want to drive a foreign. I want to be lit. I want
Of
to be
course.
up. So, um, I'm talking to the professor, and like we having the conversation, and I discussed with him that, and I asked him, I'm like, if it's not too intrusive, what you make? And he was like, nah, I'm embarrassed because you're my student, and you kind of already make what I make.
Yeah.
And I'm
Wow.
like, what? And he was
Yeah.
like, yeah. And then we started discussing about making money. And he goes, you know, if you know how to if you know how to make money, you should be in college. Like, why are you here? And I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? And he goes, you seem like a smart kid. Like, what are you in college for? What's your major? And I'm like, you know, liberal arts. He goes, oh, so you major in nothing.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
like, you know, he kind
Wow.
of he
Wow.
clowns me. He
Yeah.
clowns me for it. He goes, what are you really in school for? I was like, you know, for my parents.
Mhm.
And he was like, so you're not in school because you want to be here for anything? I was like, nah, I just want to make them proud. He goes, bro, it's going to cost you so much just to make them proud. He said, you should just go make money.
Yeah. So
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 he says that to me. It's the end of the semester. And September 29th, Wednesday, 4 p.m., I'll never forget. He calls me. He's like, where are you, man? I haven't seen you on campus. Da, 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 da. I'm like, I'm in Fort Lauderdale on a beach. I ain't coming back. And he goes, what? I said, yeah, I ain't coming back, man. Like, I figured it out. I got me like 2 little jobs out there. I was like, I started bartending, and then I was working like a stock room for Seven for All Mankind, a denim company.
okay.
And like, you know, I was 20. I couldn't even drink yet. I ain't know nobody out there.
Mhm.
Like, I was just gonna do my thing. I was gonna make it work. Like, it didn't matter. Like, I just needed to get out the environment and learn something different. Like, I just needed to see new sights. I needed to feel new vibes. I needed to understand like how life could be different outside of the norm of my zip code.
Now, have you at that point have you hit the aha moment yet, or are you still like
It's coming.
how did you get into the engineering and all that stuff? When did that aha moment start?
So it came while I was in Miami. So in Miami, I started like, well, I wanted to be a little rapper. I thought I was gonna be a rapper. So I
Okay.
was like really practicing, like learning how to do music and shit.
Hmm.
And at the same time, I had ended up getting a job at for Cadillac. I ended up working for Cadillac, Buick, and GMC, selling cars. Like, and it was like I felt worse. I felt like the biggest crook of my life selling cars than
Yeah.
I did anything else in my life. Probably any crooked shit that I ever did. It's not compared to how criminally bad it
That's
felt to sell
interesting.
cars.
Shout out to the car dealers.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to GM and everybody. Like
Yeah.
they held it down. They paid bills for a while.
Yeah.
But I remember being in that dealership and like at the same time trying to like work on music. And I remember one day I was sitting there and I was stressed. Like, damn, like wow, why am I here? Like, what the hell? What's the point of me being here? Like, what is this for?
Yeah.
And then like later I started realizing like I was learning how to like introduce myself, how to present myself, how to break the ice with somebody, how to close degrees of separation with people, how to talk to anybody. Like I was selling cars to people from the Miami Heat all the way to like bartenders that I knew. I was selling
Yeah.
cars to politicians coming in and big record artists, like recording artists that were going crazy, like
Mhm.
delivering vehicles to their homes for them so that nobody would see that they were buying cars from me. Like and
Okay.
I started realizing, like, damn, like this was something like I was going through this route. I was going through this little scenic route because it was showing me how to sit down and negotiate. It was showing me how to present myself as a brand and not just as myself. It was
Okay.
showing me how to like step up, you know, how to be an
Uh-huh.
adult. Like I had to be an adult. I had to like
Yeah.
really just be an adult for a while. And if you really wanted to chase what I was gonna do, like adulting was gonna come early on, and you were gonna have to just own up to it, and that
Okay.
was it.
All right. So you start chasing the music now, and so you get into the studios, right? Because you know you're meeting all these people, so that's
Mhm.
part of the journey. So when do you eventually get on as a engineer, or
So I
tell us about that?
so I do the Florida thing. I end up like making a little something for myself. Like I met some people and everybody's good, and um I ended up deciding that I want to come back to New York. I'm like, I've been out in Miami 5 years.
Yeah,
I've done Brickell. Like I done lived lit. I done lived regular. Like I experienced it, and I definitely want
yeah,
to come experience it lit again. So let me go do my thing. And I decided to come back to New York and pursue engineering as my education, like as
okay,
my higher education and as my trade. Like, but that was just gonna be how I was gonna get in the door. Like
yeah,
I know I had the ear for engineering, but
hmm
I did not want to I'm not. I'll be honest. I move around too much to be locked in for 15 hours in the
yeah,
studio. Like, shout out to all the engineers who sit in for 20-hour sessions, lock it down. Like, you guys are the best. I could never. Like, I have to walk out, or like somebody's gonna hear my mouth
yeah.
because
So,
it.
but being an engineer, because you're the man, right? The engineer is the man behind everything. But that is a coveted position. So how did you become an engineer? Because
So
I mean, normally you go in, I'm going to be an engineer. You know, I've seen the internships for when P Diddy. You know, when we used to have interns from our program go to, or you be sitting in there, and they just be telling you, "Yo, go go get this, go get that."
yeah, you the go get it boy for a while. I was that. I did that definitely.
Okay.
So after I finished the school and everything,
Uh-huh.
I ended up getting my opportunity into Quad Studios. Um, and So that's a little crazy, but my first day on the job as an intern, I have a tattoo on my forehead. It's right here.
Yeah.
It's a 21. And it's for my little brother. My little brother died January 21st, and he was 21. And that was like the morning of my first day of my internship.
Okay.
Like literally, like that morning, it was my first shift as an intern
Rest in
at
peace.
Quad Studios.
Your
And
first day on the job, and your brother passes away.
yeah, like my brother died that morning, and I had to go to work that morning. And I remember like I had called my manager. That was the same day of the blizzard. If anybody remember the blizzard that shut down the city for like five
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, I remember.
So that shit it shut down everything. I remember he was telling me like, yo, he was like, yo, it's gonna be terrible outside. You don't have to come in. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think there's gonna be any sessions. And I was like, no, if I'm on the schedule, like I'll show up. And he was like, yeah, all right, man. If you can do it, make it there. And I was like, all
Mhm.
right, yeah, I'll do it. And I just didn't want to be home. Like I was like petrified of thinking about my brother and like
Yeah.
my baby brother, my only other. Everybody else in my family is women, so it's just me and him that are the boys.
Oh. Oh.
So it was like, damn, like I lost like a half of me. And but I remember my aha moment right before that happened was with my little brother, and I remember like this is pretty deep. Like I remember him talking to me one night. I got him lit, took him to like his first strip club, and like hung out.
Mhm.
And he was lit one night, and he's talking to me that night, telling me he goes, I wish I had your last name. And I'm like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
You type lit, man. You talking crazy. He goes,
Mhm.
no, I promise you, like I wish I had your last name, like. And I'm like, bro, shut up. Like, you're my little brother. You're going to be wherever I'm at. And he was like, nah, bro, I'm serious. Like, there's going to be times where I'm not going to be around you. And I'm going to wish I had your last name so people know I'm
Yeah.
your brother.
Yeah.
And I said, what? He goes, you're going to be famous. Like, your last name, you're going to make it huge. Like, so from there, like, that was like the last in-person interaction I had with him.
Wow. So you went.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, like,
That's a painful ordeal. Shout out to him. Rest in peace. You know, but you decided to go to work, Jay.
I went to work. I went to work.
And,
And I was
and
not
what?
gonna lose my opportunity, and I was not gonna like. My brother had sent me like a God message, like a God's note, and
Mhm.
had told me like like you're gonna be something, bro. Like I see it,
Yeah.
and even though he was lit and shit, there's always truth in some of that.
Hmm.
So it was like I could like I could end up like letting it hurt me and kill me and like kill my opportunity and go dwell on it and sulk on it and like, yeah, I lost my little brother.
Hmm.
Or it was gonna be like, well, my little brother told me I'm gonna be lit. I can't let him die now and not be lit. I can't not be shit now. I gotta stick it.
So so
So
so
I
what was that day like? You go in.
I go into work. I can't say the session I ended up working because I signed the NDA.
Okay.
I'll throw a little hint. So Lemonade ends
Okay.
up like that ends up being
That's
the
a hell of a
session.
hint, but go ahead.
I can't say any names and shit.
Okay. All right. All right. We got it.
But
Lemonade.
that ends up being the session that ends up
Wow.
walking in that day.
Wow.
And that was the only session. They ended up getting the whole floor, and we had 3 studios on that floor. And they shut down the whole thing, turned in our cell phones, signed NDAs.
Yeah.
I was like, I barely even walked in the room, but I was doing my part. I
Yeah.
was there. I had made sure the microphone was right. I did the sound check. Helped the engineer set up the session. Like I was an intern, and I remember when I was gonna leave. I came back home that night. I had a session. I had to come back the next day for my next shift. But I remember even going back home. The train wasn't going above ground. The train was stopping at Hunts Point.
Yeah.
And then for some odd reason, my train stopped at 125th, and it didn't go past anymore. And I had to walk from 125th all the way back to Sandview
Wow.
that night. So it was crazy. Like that day was just crazy, but I wasn't gonna let up. Like I didn't care. Like that was it. It was gonna be this and that's it. Like I devoted that was it. It was official. I wasn't turning back. I wasn't gonna question it. I knew what I was supposed to do now.
So you never gave up.
Nah.
So and you, I wanted you to share your story, and thank you for sharing your story, because you're an example of, from the block in the Bronx, right? Your present situation at the time, you didn't allow that to determine your ultimate destination, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And can you share with people where you just, because we're gonna wrap up right now, but can you share with people where you just got back from?
I just got
And
back.
what you were doing, because it's one thing to be on the block, early on, telling the Bloods you can't do this, Crips I can't get down, and being a knucklehead in school and all that stuff. But it's also, something within you that fight, that determination that said, I'm going to change. That those aha moments are real. So when you have those aha moments, it leads you to this right here, this moment right here. Where did you come from just now, Jonathan? What were you doing?
So I currently just came from Jamaica. I just did
Were
8
you on
days.
vacation, Jonathan?
Nah, I was on a workcation. Workcation. It feels like vacation. My life looks like a vacation, but there's a lot of hard work outside of the little frame that everybody gets to see that I show off.
Yeah.
I just finished assistant A&Ring on Little TJ's project. I managed the 2 producers who just produced "Call on My Phone," which debuted #3 on the billboards and is the #1 streaming song in the world. I am the assistant A&R now for 5 Year Foreign, which is Big Drip, if anybody knows. Um, just working, man, like just taking in blessings and doing as best as I can, helping other artists that a lot of people are listening to on the low, developing them and getting new acts, just making and creating opportunities. But I just recently, 4 days ago, got back from G Jam Studios Resort, where they
Yeah.
did God's Plan with Drake, Jay-Z and Beyonce. I recorded a couple things there. It's a very beautiful place in Jamaica. Shout out to everybody at G Jam and the country side of Port Antonio. Um,
Shout out to
we just
Jamaica. Big
shout
up,
out
big
to
up.
Jamaica. Big up. Go Yard.
No.
Yard. Shout
So
out to that Trench Kid, Columbia, everybody over there. Like big love to them. G-Rod, everybody that pulled up. So we're actually doing a lot of work. And yeah, man, like just part of some things, man.
yeah, just small things. Listen, I'm beyond proud of you. I am justifiably proud of you. People who are hearing this, I know what's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, "Yo, put me on, son. Yo, can you give me a job? Yo, I'm a rapper.
Listen, man. Hit the email, man.
But listen, what's and we got to wrap up right now because but I just love this story, man. So, what is your message to those kids from your zip code or from your block, to where you're at right now? What's your message to them and everyone out there listening who's in the struggle?
To anybody doing it right now, like even if you're up, if you're not struggling, if you are struggling, like it's just like a game. You could be down, you could be up. Don't watch the scoreboard. Don't ever look at the scoreboard. Just keep scoring. Keep scoring, keep scoring, keep scoring, keep scoring, keep shooting. If you look at the scoreboard and you're winning, you're gonna end up losing. If you look at the scoreboard when you're losing, you're gonna keep losing. Just keep scoring. Just keep scoring. That's it.
Well said. Well said. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your beautiful story. I hope it resonates with people out there. My quote for tonight is success does not come to you. You have to go to it. Okay. Jonathan Negron wasn't standing on a corner one day and somebody drove by and said, "Hey, you, I want you to be an A&R, an engineer, and here's all this stuff," right? No. People out there listening, you have to grind. You got to, some people, they say that some people dream of success while others wake up and work hard at it every day. So that's what it comes down to. Jonathan Negron, thank you for coming on. To everyone out there who's interested in being on the show and sharing your educational story, please DM me. Remember, everyone has a story to tell, but what's your educational story?